My name is Zara Berry. I'm 28 years old. Last Christmas, my father called and asked me to come back to Greenwich. He said, "This is a chance for the family to come together." I drove 2.5 hours from Brooklyn. At 6 p.m. on December 23rd, I walked into a house that was completely empty, dark, silent. Minutes later, the babysitter showed up and handed me 3 kids, ages 3, 5, and 7, like luggage. She shrugged and repeated my mother's words exactly. "You're the babysitter this week." I stood in the kitchen when my phone buzzed. My father texted me like I was on payroll. "Don't make a scene. Make sure you pick the kids up on time." Then my sister FaceTimed from the airport, smiling like nothing was wrong. "You're free anyway. Just help us out." The only 7 vacation days I had all year were erased in one night. I didn't cry. I didn't call back screaming. I just swallowed it. Because I've been swallowing it my entire life. What they didn't know was this: I wasn't the failure they thought I was. And the first person who discovered what I'd built was about to change everything. The email came on August 12th. Subject line: Christmas plans. I stared at it for 10 minutes before opening. My father, Philip Berry, hadn't initiated contact in 3 years outside of obligatory birthday texts. The email was 6 sentences long. Email text: Zara, this Christmas, let's be a real family. The kids ask about you. Your mother and I aren't getting younger. Come home. No mention of my sister Veronica. No mention of what we'd actually do. Just, come home. I read it 4 times, looking for the angle, looking for the catch. I didn't find one, or I didn't want to find one, because I'd spent 28 years waiting for my father to see me the way he saw Veronica. Investment banker, Goldman Sachs, $320,000 a year. The daughter who made it. And me? I was the one who sold lotion online. I had exactly 7 vacation days saved, not 7 days off. 7 paid time off days I'd earned over 14 months working 80-hour weeks building Pure Gentle, my company, my skincare line. 3 products: healing balm, gentle cleanser, daily moisturizer, made for people with eczema, made for people like my grandmother, though I didn't know she suffered yet. I'd had 4 critical meetings scheduled for early January, January 2nd, final formula review with my chemist in Brooklyn, January 3rd, manufacturer meeting in New Jersey to lock down production timelines, January 4th, Whole Foods, buyer on Zoom, a potential $200,000 purchase order. January 5th, Target buyer, national launch possibility. My factory in Taiwan was shutting down for Lunar New Year on December 31st. 3 weeks of closure. If I didn't finalize the formulas for 2 new products, baby wash and night repair serum, by December 27th, I'd lose the production window entirely. I needed $350,000 to scale, to hire employees, to move from my Brooklyn studio into an actual office, to stop microwaving instant noodles and calling it dinner, but my father's email said family. Text to my co-founder, December 10th. I have to go home for Christmas. Can you handle the chemist meeting alone? I know it's bad timing. His response: Zara, this is the worst timing. But okay. Family first, I guess. I canceled my Vermont ski resort booking. $890 non-refundable deposit. Gone. I thought maybe this time would be different. Maybe my father actually wanted to know me. Maybe Christmas would be the moment he finally asked about my business instead of dismissing it. I was wrong. December 23rd. I left Brooklyn at 3:30 p.m., 2.5 hours to Greenwich, Connecticut. I-95 North was packed with holiday traffic. I brought my laptop, a portable charger, my notebook with pitch deck revisions. 1 small jar of Pure Gentle healing balm in my purse. I was testing a reformulation and wanted to monitor the texture over a week. I told myself I could balance both, family and work, 7 days. I could give them the days and work on the business at night when the kids slept. The lies we tell ourselves. At 5:55 p.m., I pulled into the driveway of my parents' house, a $3.6 million colonial in Greenwich. White columns, professionally decorated Christmas lights, picture perfect. The driveway was empty. No cars. No one home. I sat in my Honda Civic for 5 minutes, staring at the dark windows. Checked my phone. No missed calls. No texts. Nothing. I used the spare key they'd given me years ago, the one I'd never actually used because I was never invited over. The house was silent. Lights off. No smell of cooking. No Christmas music. Nothing. I walked through the first floor calling out, "Hello? Dad? Mom?" No one. Upstairs, I found 3 children asleep in the guest bedroom. Madison, 7 years old. Carter, 5. Avery, 3. My sister Veronica's kids. I'd met them exactly 4 times in their entire lives. At 6:15 p.m., the doorbell rang. A teenage girl stood on the porch, car keys in hand. She looked annoyed. "Are you Zara?" she asked. "Yes." "Finally. I'm Sarah. I was told to stay until 6. It's 6:15 now." She grabbed her coat from the hall closet. "The kids are asleep. They ate at 5. Bedtime is 8. Good luck." She was out the door before I could ask a single question. I walked back to the kitchen. That's when I saw it. A yellow sticky note on the refrigerator, handwritten in my mother's cursive. Sticky note text. "Zara. Kids' schedules attached. Emergency contacts on fridge. Will be back December 30th. Thanks for doing this. Merry Christmas." Mom. Not please, not would you mind. Not we're sorry for the last-minute ask. Just thanks for doing this, like I'd already agreed, like I had a choice. And back December 30th. 7 days. My only 7 vacation days in over a year. Erased. I didn't sleep that night. At 2 a.m., I sat in the kitchen with my laptop trying to process what had happened. That's when I remembered. My parents had a Ring doorbell, and I had access to the account. They'd added me 2 years ago during a security scare and never removed me. I opened the app, scrolled to December 23rd, 6 a.m. The footage loaded. 4 people walked out the front door, laughing. My father, Philip, my mother, Susan, my sister, Veronica, her husband, Garrett. 4 large suitcases, designer luggage. Timestamp, 6 a.m., December 23rd. I checked my text history. I'd sent my father a message at 5:40 a.m. that morning. "Leaving Brooklyn now, see you at 6 p.m. He'd read it. At 5:42 a.m., then waited 18 minutes, then left. On the Ring footage, I could hear his voice faintly through the doorbell microphone. "Philip," to Susan. She texted, "She's on her way. Perfect timing." They waited for me to confirm I was coming. Then they left. So I couldn't turn around. So I'd be locked into a choice I never made. I needed the Wi-Fi password. I went into my father's study, a room I'd only been in twice in my entire life. His laptop was on the desk, open, unlocked. The screen showed an email. Subject: Your reservation at Four Seasons Hotel, George 5th Paris is confirmed. I didn't mean to snoop, but I couldn't look away. Booking details. Hotel, Four Seasons. George 5th Paris, France. Dates: December 23rd to 29th, 2024. 6 nights. Room, Suite Prestige. Guests: 4 adults. Total cost: $24,900. I scrolled down. The email was forwarded from a travel agent. Original date: November 20th. Over a month before my father sent me the "Come Home for Christmas" email on December 8th. They'd booked Paris before asking me to come home. This wasn't a last-minute trip. This was premeditated. I was about to close the laptop when I saw it. The Messages app was open on the screen. A group chat. Name: Paris Trip Planning. Members: Philip, Susan, Veronica, Garrett. Not me. Never me. I scrolled to the top. 47 messages, all from mid-December. December 19th, 11:34 p.m. Philip. Told Zara to come home. She can watch your kids. Maybe she'll realize her business is going nowhere and get serious about her career. Veronica. Perfect. She needs a reality check anyway. Investment banking greater than selling lotion. Susan. She's been alone too long. This will be good for her. Teach her what real family responsibility looks like. 3 laugh reactions. All from my family. About me. I sat there, staring at the screen, reading it again and again. They didn't just use me. They mocked me. They planned it. They discussed it like I was a problem they needed to manage. I closed the laptop, sat in the dark study, 2:47 a.m. The Christmas lights outside blinked red and green through the window, on and off, on and off. I thought about the pattern, the years of it, always being the afterthought, always being compared to Veronica, always being told my MIT chemistry degree wasn't practical, that my startup was a hobby, that I should get a real job at Pfizer or Johnson & Johnson. My father worked in pharmaceutical real estate development. My mother was an interior designer for the wealthy. My sister sold financial products to corporations. They understood money. They understood status. They understood titles. They didn't understand creation. They didn't understand solving problems. They didn't understand building something from nothing with your own hands. Email from my father, September 2023. Zara, you're 28 years old living in a studio apartment. Veronica owns a condo on Park Avenue. Think about that. I'd thought about it every day since. They invited me home for Christmas because they thought I was failing. Because they thought I needed a lesson in real success. Because they thought babysitting my sister's children would remind me what I was missing by not having the stable life they valued. They didn't invite me home for family. They summoned me for free labor. And to teach me a lesson I didn't need. I looked at the sticky note again. Back December 30th. They'd returned just in time for New Year's Eve parties, rested, tanned from Paris cafes, ready to tell their friends about their magical Christmas in Europe. And me? I'd go back to Brooklyn with 7 days stolen, 4 meetings missed, a business on the edge of collapse. And the same hollow feeling I'd had my entire life. Invisible. But they didn't know something. They didn't know what I'd actually built. They'd never asked, never looked, never cared enough to understand that Pure Gentle wasn't selling lotion. It was solving a problem the entire beauty industry had failed to solve for 50 years. And the person who was about to discover that? She was already on her way. December 24th, 2 p.m. Madison sat on the couch, scratching her left arm, then her right, then her left again. I counted 14 times in 3 hours. Her skin was red, inflamed, small scratch marks where she'd broken the surface. I went to the bathroom, searched the medicine cabinet, found a half-empty tube of CeraVe. Expiration date, April 2023. 20 months expired. A bottle of Aveeno, nearly empty. A tube of something called Eucerin, unused. I brought them downstairs. Madison was crying now. Quiet tears. She was trying not to make noise. Madison, I said, what does your mom usually use? She sniffled. All of those. Nothing works. It always hurts. How long have you had this? 2 years, since I was 5. Mommy tried everything. She says there's nothing that can help. I looked at the expired CeraVe, applied some to her arm. Madison winced. That stings, she said. I waited 15 minutes. No improvement. If anything, the redness spread. I had something in my purse that could help. A jar of Pure Gentle healing balm. My own formulation. Pharmaceutical grade. Colloidal oatmeal 2%. Ceramides 3%. Niacinamide 5%. But if I used it, someone might notice. Someone might ask questions. Someone might discover what I'd actually been building for the past 2 years while they dismissed me. Madison scratched again. A small drop of blood appeared. I made a decision. 2 a.m., December 25th. Carter screaming. I ran upstairs. He was standing in his bed, sobbing. I want Daddy. Where's Daddy? Daddy's traveling, I said. He'll be back soon. I want him now! It took 30 minutes to calm him down, get him back to sleep. I went downstairs, sat on the couch, closed my eyes. 4 a.m. Carter again. Same scene, same tears, same question. 6 a.m. Avery this time. Woke up, wanted milk, spilled it on the carpet. 3 times. 3 separate spills. Chocolate milk, staining the white carpet. By 6:30 a.m., I'd had maybe 3 hours of sleep in 48 hours. My laptop battery was at 4%. I'd forgotten to pack my charger. It was sitting on my desk in Brooklyn. Useless to me. I tried to work during nap time. 1 p.m., December 24th. Opened my laptop, pulled up my email. Email from Target buyer, December 23rd. Hi Zara, confirming our call scheduled for January 5th at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Please send updated deck by January 2nd. Looking forward to discussing national launch potential. Email from Whole Foods buyer, December 23rd. Zara, we need your pitch deck by January 4th for our buying committee meeting. This is time sensitive. Please confirm. Text from my chemist, December 24th, 10:15 a.m. Zara, we're running out of time. Factory closes December 31st for 3 weeks. Need your approval on baby wash formula by December 27th, or we lose the production window. Every 15 minutes, an interruption. Avery crying, Madison needing a snack, Carter asking to watch TV. I typed 3 sentences in 2 hours. Text to my chemist, December 24th, 3:47 p.m. Family emergency. Will send by 27th. His response. Zara, you said that yesterday. We have 72 hours. I didn't know how to tell him I was trapped. That my family had lied to me. That I couldn't think straight because I hadn't slept. That my laptop was dying and I had no charger. I couldn't admit I'd been that stupid, that naive, that desperate for their approval. 8 p.m., December 24th. The kids were finally asleep. I opened Instagram. I don't know why. Masochism, probably. Veronica's story, posted 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 8 p.m. Paris time. Photo, the Eiffel Tower at sunset. 4 champagne glasses in the foreground, everyone's hands in the frame, toasting. Caption, Christmas in Paris with my loves. So grateful for this quality time. No mention of her children. No mention of who was watching them. No mention of me. Susan's story, posted 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Photo, the Louvre Museum, the glass pyramid. Perfectly curated shot. Caption, Cultural Christmas. Sometimes you need to escape and recharge. Philip's story, posted 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Photo, a Michelin star restaurant, fancy dinner plates, wine. Caption, Celebrating the holidays the right way. None of them tagged me. None of them thanked me. None of them acknowledged that someone was home alone with 3 children, scrubbing chocolate milk out of carpet at 9 p.m. on Christmas Eve. They were living their best lives, and I was living the consequences of believing them. 11 p.m., December 24th. Madison woke up crying. It hurts, she sobbed. It hurts so much. Her arms were covered in scratch marks. She'd been scratching in her sleep. I'd already tried the expired CeraVe. It didn't work. Nothing in their medicine cabinet worked. I went to my purse, pulled out the small jar of Pure Gentle Healing Balm. 2 ounces, retail price $32. But this wasn't for sale. This was my personal test batch. I'd reformulated it 3 times to get the texture right. Madison, I said quietly, I'm going to put something on your arms. It might feel cool at first. Is that okay? She nodded, tears on her cheeks. I applied a thin layer to her left arm, Then her right. Gentle circles. The balm absorbed quickly, non-greasy, exactly as I'd designed it. How does it feel? I asked. It's not stinging. It feels nice. I waited. 10 minutes. 15. 20. Madison stopped scratching. The redness began to fade. Not completely. Eczema doesn't disappear in 20 minutes. But enough. Enough that she could rest. Can I sleep now? She asked, her eyes already closing. Yes, sweetie. Sleep. I put the jar back in my purse. Thought nothing more of it. I didn't think anyone would see it. I didn't think anyone would ask. I was wrong. 7 a.m., December 25th, Christmas morning. I woke to the sound of footsteps, all three children, running downstairs, excited voices. I followed them. They were standing in front of the Christmas tree, presents underneath. My parents had bought gifts before leaving, wrapped them, put them under the tree, everything prepared. Except for one thing, themselves. Madison stopped, looked around. Where's Mommy and Daddy? They had to travel for work, I lied. But they left these presents for you, and I'm here. Why aren't they here? Madison asked again. Her voice was small, confused. Sometimes adults have to do things for work, I said. The words tasted wrong in my mouth. Avery, 3 years old, started crying. I want Mommy. Carter joined in. Santa came, but Mommy and Daddy didn't. Did we do something wrong? That question broke something in me, but I couldn't let them see. No, I said firmly. You didn't do anything wrong. You're wonderful kids. Your parents they just had something important to do. The lie sat heavy in the room. Madison looked at me, 7 years old. Old enough to know something wasn't right, but too young to understand what. Aunt Zara, she said quietly, can we still have Christmas? Yes, I said. We can still have Christmas. 8:30 a.m. I made breakfast, 8 pancakes, 12 strips of bacon, hot chocolate for all 3 kids. I tried to make them festive, tried to smile, tried to create some kind of holiday magic in a house that felt hollow. Carter poked at his pancake. Mommy makes Mickey Mouse pancakes. These are just circles. I'm sorry, I said. I don't know how to make Mickey Mouse pancakes. That's okay, Madison said quickly. Too quickly, like she was trying to make me feel better. A 7-year-old trying to manage an adult's emotions. These are good too. The kitchen was a mess, flour on the counter, dirty pans in the sink, syrup on the floor. I was drowning in basic tasks I'd never had to do. I didn't know how to take care of 3 children. I didn't know their routines, their preferences, their needs. I was a pharmaceutical chemist. I'd graduated MIT with a 3.88 GPA. I'd formulated skincare products that actually worked. But I couldn't make Mickey Mouse pancakes because my family had never taught me, never let me close enough to learn. 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 3:30 p.m. Paris time. My phone rang. FaceTime, Philip Barry. I answered. His face filled the screen, flushed, slightly drunk. The Eiffel Tower visible in the background through a window. Merry Christmas, he shouted. Too loud. How are the kids? They're fine, I said flatly. Great, great. Kids, come say hi to Daddy. The 3 children crowded around the phone. Daddy, Daddy. Hi, my loves. Having fun with Aunt Zara? Good. Daddy and Mommy love you. We gotta go. We have dinner reservations. Love you. He hung up. 15 seconds. That's all they got. 15 seconds on Christmas morning. Madison stared at the blank phone screen. Why didn't they take us to Paris? I didn't have an answer. Because the real answer, that their parents valued a European vacation more than spending Christmas with them, wasn't something a 7-year-old should have to hear. Sometimes adults need time to rest, I said. But we could rest in Paris too, she said. She was right. They could have. They chose not to. Carter started crying again. I want them to come home. They'll be home soon, I said. Another lie. December 30th was 5 days away. 5 more days of this. 12:05 p.m. Lunch was over. The kids were playing with new toys in the living room. I was cleaning the kitchen. The doorbell rang. I froze. I hadn't ordered anything. Hadn't invited anyone. Didn't know anyone in Greenwich except my family, and they were in Paris. I walked to the front door, looked through the peephole. 2 elderly people. 2. A man and a woman, well-dressed, 2 large suitcases beside them. I didn't recognize them at first. Then the man turned his head slightly. The profile was familiar. My heart stopped. Bennett Barry, my grandfather, 80 years old, and beside him, Rosemary Barry, my grandmother, 77. They lived in Naples, Florida, 1,280 miles away. They weren't supposed to be here. I opened the door. Bennett's face broke into a wide smile. Zara, sweetheart, surprise! He pulled me into a hug. Rosemary followed. She smelled like expensive perfume and something else, something medicinal. I didn't know what it was yet. Grandpa? Grandma? What are you doing here? We wanted to spend Christmas with family, Bennett said cheerfully. We drove up. Well, mostly drove. Stopped twice for Rosemary's back. But we made it. 15 hours, Rosemary added, rubbing her lower back. We left yesterday morning. Got in late last night and stayed at a hotel. Thought we'd surprise everyone this morning. You drove 15 hours? I repeated stupidly. 16, with traffic, Bennett said. Where's Philip and Susan? Where's Veronica? My mouth went dry. They're traveling. Traveling? Rosemary's smile faded. Traveling where? Europe. Paris. They left on the 23rd. The silence was heavy. Bennett looked confused. Philip didn't mention that when I spoke to him last month. He said the family would all be here for Christmas. It was last minute, I lied. Badly. Rosemary looked past me into the house. I saw her eyes scan the living room, the 3 children playing, the kitchen with dirty dishes, the chaos. Zara, she said slowly, are you here alone with 3 children? I nodded. For how long? They'll be back December 30th. 7 days, Rosemary said. Not a question, a statement. Her voice changed, sharpened. You've been here alone with Veronica's 3 children for 7 days and Philip didn't think to mention this to us? It's fine, I said quickly. I'm fine, the kids are fine. Bennett and Rosemary looked at each other. Something passed between them, a wordless conversation married couples have after 55 years together. Well, Rosemary said, we're staying, not at a hotel, here, with you. You don't have to. We're staying, she repeated. Firm, final. Bennett brought the suitcases inside. Rosemary went straight to the kitchen, started washing dishes. I tried to stop her. Grandma, please, I can do that. You look exhausted, she said. Let me help. The kids heard voices, came running. Grandma Rose! Grandpa Ben! Madison ran to Rosemary, hugged her waist. You came for Christmas. Of course we did, sweetheart, Rosemary said, kneeling down. Then she saw Madison's arms, paused. Her expression changed. She touched Madison's left arm gently, examined the skin, the red patches, the scratch marks. Madison, how long have you had this? Her voice was different now, professional, concerned. 2 years, Madison said. Since I was 5. Does it hurt? All the time. But Mommy tried lots of creams. Nothing works. Rosemary ran her finger over the skin. I saw her wince, like she recognized something, like she'd lived it. Carter was shy, hid behind my leg. Who are they? These are Grandpa Bennett and Grandma Rosemary, I said. Your great-grandparents. Great? Carter tested the word. It means we're very old, Bennett said with a laugh. But we brought presents. That got Carter's attention. Avery, too. They crept forward cautiously. Rosemary was still looking at Madison's arms. Then she looked at Madison's face, her neck, checking for more eczema patches. "What have you been using?" she asked. "CeraVe, Aveeno, that pink one, the French one. Mommy bought like 20 different things." "Did any of them work?" "No." Madison's voice was small, defeated. "Nothing works. I scratch at night. I can't help it." "Where's your mother?" "Paris," Madison said simply. "With Daddy." Rosemary stood up. Her jaw was tight. She walked to the refrigerator, saw the sticky note, read it, didn't say anything, but I saw her hand clench into a fist. 2 p.m. The kids were playing with the presents Bennett and Rosemary had brought. Small toys, books, things they'd packed in the car for the long drive. Rosemary sat beside Madison on the couch, watched her. Madison scratched her arm 6 times in 15 minutes. Automatic. Unconscious. "Madison," Rosemary said gently, "let me see your arms again." Madison held them out. Rosemary examined them closely, then stopped, frowned. "This looks better than before," she said. "Did you put something new on this?" "Aunt Zara put special cream last night," Madison said. "It stopped itching. For the first time ever." Rosemary's head snapped to me. "What cream?" "Just—" I hesitated. "Just something I had." "Show me." I didn't want to. But Rosemary's voice had changed. It wasn't grandmother's sweet anymore. It was something else, something sharp, something that had survived 50 years in the beauty industry and knew when something was real. I went to my purse, pulled out the small jar, 2 ounces, white jar, simple label, pure, gentle healing balm. I handed it to her. Rosemary took it, turned it over in her hands, read the label, then unscrewed the cap, smelled it, tested the texture on her finger. "You made this?" she asked. "Yes." "Where?" "Brooklyn. My apartment." She looked at me for a long moment, then back at the jar, then at Madison's improved skin. "Do you have eczema?" she asked Madison in a voice I didn't recognize, a voice that carried weight, history, pain. It was the voice of someone who had lived with eczema for 50 years, someone who knew exactly what this child was going through, because she'd been that child once. Madison didn't understand the significance of Rosemary's question. She just nodded. "Yes, I've had it since I was 5. It hurts all the time." "Does it hurt now?" Rosemary asked. "No, not since Aunt Zara put that cream on last night." Rosemary looked at me. "When did you apply this?" 11 p.m., last night. She couldn't sleep, she was scratching and crying. "And how long until it worked?" "About 20 minutes. Rosemary's eyes widened slightly. She turned to Madison. "Sweetheart, can you show me where else you have eczema?" Madison pointed, her elbows, behind her knees, her neck. "It's everywhere," she said. "Mommy says we've tried 23 different products in 2 years. The doctor gave us steroid cream, but Mommy doesn't like using it." 23 products, Rosemary repeated slowly. She looked at me again. "And this one worked in 20 minutes?" "It reduced inflammation," I said carefully. "It didn't cure it. Eczema doesn't work like that. But yes, it provided relief." Rosemary stood up. "Zara, I need to talk to you. Kitchen, now." We stood in the kitchen. Rosemary set the jar on the counter, crossed her arms. "Tell me about this." "It's a healing balm I formulated for eczema and sensitive skin." "Formulated where?" "I have a small company, Pure Gentle. We make clean skin care for people with chronic skin conditions." "We?" "Mostly me. I have a co-founder who handles the website, but the formulations are mine." "Your education?" "MIT Bachelor's in Chemistry, GPA 3.88, then UCLA Extension, Certificate in Cosmetic Science." Rosemary picked up the jar again, read the ingredients list on the back label. Colloidal oatmeal 2%, ceramides 3%, niacinamide, 5%, panthenol, allantoin, glycerin. She looked up. This is pharmaceutical-grade formulation. Yes. Where did you learn this? MIT for the Chemistry Foundation. UCLA for cosmetic science applications. But mostly trial and error. 2 years of research and development, testing on myself, reformulating, getting it right. Your father never told me you were doing this. I laughed. Bitter. My father doesn't think it's a real business. He calls it selling lotion online. Rosemary was quiet for a moment. Then, how long have you been running this company? We launched 8 months ago, August. Revenue? I hesitated. Why do you want to know? Because I spent 23 years as vice president of marketing at Estee Lauder. I launched 3 product lines. I know the difference between a hobby and a business. And this, she held up the jar. This is not a hobby. So tell me. Revenue. I swallowed. $180,000. In 8 months? Yes. How many customers? 2,300. Repeat purchase rate? 68%. Rosemary set the jar down, stared at it, then at me. Your father called this selling lotion? Yes. Zara, I need to see everything. Your website, your sales data, your reviews, everything, right now. I got my laptop. Charged now. Bennett had lent me his charger. Pulled up the Pure Gentle Shopify dashboard. Rosemary sat down, put on reading glasses, scrolled through the numbers. Revenue by month. Customer acquisition cost, $23. Lifetime value, $156. Gross margin, 72%. Monthly growth rate, 35%. These metrics, she said. Do you understand what these metrics mean? I think so. No, you don't. These are extraordinary. Glossier had $100,000 in revenue at month 12. You have $180,000 at month 8. She clicked on the reviews page. 890 reviews. 4.8 out of 5 stars. She read one aloud. My 4-year-old daughter scratched until she bled every night for 2 years. We tried everything. Prescription creams, dermatologists, allergy specialists. Nothing worked. Pure Gentle cleared her eczema in 3 weeks. She can finally sleep without mittens on. Thank you for giving us our daughter back. Rosemary's voice cracked on the last sentence. She cleared her throat, kept reading. Another review. I've had eczema for 30 years, spent thousands on treatments. This is the first product that actually works. No steroids, no harsh chemicals, just relief, within days. She read silently for 5 minutes, then looked up. Her eyes were red. Do you know why I'm crying? She asked. No. I had eczema, she said, for 50 years, starting when I was 12 years old. I stared at her. You had eczema? Hands, neck, face, everywhere. I wore long sleeves in the summer, high collars, scarves, gloves when I could. I never knew. Because it's gone now. Finally, after 50 years of steroid creams and humiliation. She took off her reading glasses, rubbed her eyes. I worked at Estee Lauder from 1975 to 1998, 23 years. I was the vice president of marketing. I launched the Clinique Sensitive Skin line. You launched that? Yes. And every single day I wore products that made my eczema worse. Because that was the job. Sell beauty, look beautiful, even if the products hurt. I didn't know. No one did. I was very good at hiding it. Foundation to cover the redness. Concealer for the dry patches. I spent $400 a month on dermatologists. I used steroid cream for 20 years. It thinned my skin. Permanently. She held out her hands. I saw it now. The slight translucence. The way her skin looked almost paper thin. I spent my entire career wishing someone would create what you just created. Clean, effective, affordable. A product that actually works without destroying your skin barrier. She picked up the jar again. And my granddaughter, who I barely know because my son never bothered to include her in family events, she did it, at 28 years old, with a degree from MIT, and no support from her family. Dad doesn't understand. Your father, she cut me off, is an idiot, and I'm about to make him regret ignoring you. Rosemary spent the next hour on my laptop. Bennett took the kids outside to play in the backyard. I sat across from my grandmother watching her work. She opened every tab, read every page, analyzed every number. 8 months, she said. 2,300 customers. Revenue 180,000. You're not running this full time, are you? No, I work on it nights and weekends. During the day, I do consulting work to pay rent. Where do you live? Brooklyn, Williamsburg. Studio apartment. $1,200 a month. And your father lives here. She gestured at the house. $3.6 million home, while you're grinding alone in a studio. He didn't offer to help. Did you ask? Once, last year. I asked if he could invest $25,000. He said no. He said I should get a real job instead of wasting time on pipe dreams. Rosemary typed something on her phone, then returned to the laptop. Shopify says you're growing 35% month over month. That's not a pipe dream. That's a rocket ship. It could be. If I had capital, I need $350,000 to scale, inventory for 2 new products, hiring a chemist full-time, operations manager, retail partnerships. What partnerships? Target wants a call on January 5th, national launch potential. Whole Foods wants a pitch deck by January 4th, but I trailed off. But you can't do any of that because you're stuck here babysitting. I didn't say that. You didn't have to. She clicked on something. What are these meetings you mentioned? I told her. The chemist meeting January 2nd, manufacturer meeting January 3rd, Whole Foods January 4th, Target January 5th, the factory closure on December 31st. The 2 new products that wouldn't get made if I missed the deadline. So your family stole the most critical week of your business, she said flatly. They didn't know. Yes, they did. They knew you were building something. They chose not to care. Rosemary clicked on the reviews page again. Scrolled slowly, reading each one. Review from Sarah T., Austin, Texas. My son has severe eczema. We've tried CeraVe, Aveeno, Cetaphil, Vanicream, every prescription the doctor gave us. Nothing worked for more than a day. Pure Gentle cleared his flare-ups in 2 weeks. He's 6 years old, and for the first time in his life, he's not ashamed of his skin. Thank you. Rosemary read it aloud. Her voice broke on, ashamed of his skin. Another review from Jennifer M., Portland, OR. I'm a nurse. I've had hand eczema for 15 years from constant hand washing. I've used every medical-grade product available. Pure Gentle is the only thing that's worked. My hands have healed. I can do my job without pain. This product is a miracle. Rosemary stopped, put her hand over her mouth, took a breath. This one, she said quietly. Review from Patricia L., Naples, Florida. I'm 74 years old. I've had eczema since I was a teenager. 58 years. I've spent thousands on treatments. Dermatologists told me nothing would work. This product worked. In days. I cried when I saw my skin healing. Thank you for not giving up. Rosemary closed the laptop, stood up, walked to the window, stared out at the backyard where Bennett was pushing Avery on the swing. That could have been me, she said. If this had existed 30 years ago, 40 years ago, 50 years ago. Grandma? She turned around. Do you know what it's like to work in beauty with skin you're ashamed of? To sell products to women telling them they'll be beautiful while you hide behind scarves? To smile in product launches while your neck is bleeding under your collar? No. I did that for 23 years. I survived it, but I shouldn't have had to. She walked back to the table, sat down. You created what I needed. what Madison needs, what 31 million Americans need, and your father called it lotion. What do you need to scale this? Rosemary asked. $350,000. For what specifically? Inventory for 2 new products, baby wash and night repair serum. The formulas are ready. I need manufacturing runs. That's 120,000. Hiring a full-time chemist to manage quality control. 85,000 annual salary. Operations manager, 72,000. The rest goes to marketing and retail sample production. Target and Whole Foods. What's the potential revenue? Target meeting is for a test launch. 200 stores. Estimated $200,000 purchase order. Whole Foods is smaller. Trial program. 120 stores. 3-month test. And if those succeed? Target could expand to national distribution. 500 stores. Whole Foods could approve permanent placement. Revenue projection at that scale? Conservative estimate. 2.5 million in year 2. Rosemary pulled out her phone, typed notes. What's your current personal income? From Pure Gentle? Yes. I reinvest everything. I take nothing. I live on consulting income, 28,000 a year. That covers rent and food. You make 28,000 a year. Yes. Your sister makes 320,000 at Goldman Sachs. Yes. And your father thinks she's the successful one. Yes. Rosemary was quiet for a long time, then she stood up. I need to make a phone call. Bennett, come here, please. Bennett and Rosemary went into the living room, closed the door. I heard muffled voices, intense. Rosemary's voice raised once. Bennett's calm and steady. 15 minutes later, they came out. Rosemary's face was determined, set. Zara, I need a name. Michael Brennan. Have you heard of him? No. He's the former president of Glossier. Now he's a venture partner at Forerunner Ventures. They're one of the top consumer goods VCs in the country. I worked with him 20 years ago. I'm calling him tonight. Grandma, it's Christmas. I don't care. If he doesn't answer, I'll call him at midnight. This can't wait. She picked up her phone, walked back into the living room, dialed. I heard her voice through the door. Michael, it's Rosemary Berry. Yes, Merry Christmas to you too. I need you in Connecticut tomorrow morning. No, not next week. Tomorrow. I wouldn't call on Christmas night if this wasn't extraordinary. My granddaughter built something you need to see. Trust me. A pause. Yes, I'm serious. She's a chemist. MIT grad. She's formulated a product that solves a 50-year-old problem. I've seen the data. 180,000 in 8 months. 68% repeat rate. Michael, trust me. Get on a plane. Another pause. JFK to Greenwich. I'll text you the address. Bring your checkbook. She hung up, came back to the kitchen. He'll be here tomorrow at 9 a.m. Grandma, you didn't have to. Yes, I did. Because your father clearly won't. 11 p.m., December 25th. The kids were asleep. I was cleaning the kitchen. Bennett was in the study. I heard him on the phone. Low voice. Serious tone. Richard, I need you to pull our trust documents. Yes, tonight. I know it's Christmas. This is important. Something has come up with the family. Richard. That was the family attorney. I'd met him once, maybe twice. 60-something. Gray hair. Sharp suit. I need you to review the succession clauses, specifically the sections about asset distribution and trustee responsibilities. Can you have that ready by tomorrow afternoon? A pause. Yes, Philip is still trustee, but I'm considering changes. We'll discuss when you arrive. Can you be in Greenwich by 2 p.m. tomorrow? Another pause. Thank you. See you then. I didn't hear any more, didn't know what it meant. But something was happening, something big. Midnight. I sat in the guest bedroom, my room for the week, a room I'd never slept in before because I'd never been invited to stay overnight at my parents' house. My phone was next to me. Email notifications, text messages from my chemist, reminders about deadlines. I thought about Rosemary, about Michael Brennan flying in tomorrow, about Bennett calling the family attorney. Don't hope, I told myself. You've hoped before. It always ends the same way. When I was 16, I won a national science competition. I thought my father would be proud. He missed the award ceremony. He had a work dinner. When I got into MIT, I thought he'd finally see me. He said, "Good school, but what's the job market for chemists?" When I launched Pure Gentle, I sent him the website. He never responded. 3 months later, at a family dinner I wasn't invited to, but showed up to anyway, he told Veronica in front of me, "At least you have a real career, not like some people selling lotion on the internet." I'd stopped hoping after that, stopped expecting anything, stopped believing they'd ever see me as anything other than the daughter who didn't fit their definition of success. And now Rosemary was making calls, making promises, getting my hopes up. I couldn't afford to hope. Because when it fell apart, and it always fell apart, the crash would destroy me. I turned off my phone, tried to sleep, couldn't. 6 a.m., December 26th. I woke to voices downstairs. A man's voice. Deep. Unfamiliar. I got dressed, went downstairs. A man in his 50s stood in the living room. Well-dressed but casual. Dark jeans, button-down shirt, expensive watch, backpack slung over one shoulder. He looked tired. Like he'd been traveling all night. Rosemary was making coffee. "Zara, this is Michael Brennan. Michael, this is my granddaughter Zara." Michael extended his hand. "Rosemary doesn't call me on Christmas for nothing. I took a red-eye from San Francisco, landed at JFK 2 hours ago, hired a car. Let's see what you've built." 9 a.m. The kids were eating breakfast. Bennett was keeping them occupied. Rosemary, Michael, and I sat at the dining room table. I opened my laptop, pulled up the Shopify dashboard, the website, the pitch deck I'd been working on for Target. Michael pulled out his MacBook, opened a notebook. "I have 90 minutes before my next call. Let's make this count." "Where do you want me to start?" I asked. "Problem, solution, traction, in that order." I took a breath. This was it. The problem: 31 million Americans have eczema. Current treatments are either ineffective, like over-the-counter lotions, or harmful long-term, like steroid creams. There's no clean, effective, affordable solution. Solution? Pure Gentle. Pharmaceutical-grade formulations using proven anti-inflammatory ingredients. Colloidal oatmeal, ceramides, niacinamide, clean, vegan, fragrance-free. Actually works. Traction? 180,000 in revenue. 8 months, 2,300 customers, 68% repeat purchase rate. Michael typed notes. Customer acquisition cost? $23, mostly organic and referral. Lifetime value? $156 based on current repeat rate. Margins? 72% gross margin. Michael looked up. Say that again. 72%. How? I manufacture in Taiwan, small batches, high quality, low cost of goods. Michael wrote more notes. Competition? CeraVe, Aveeno, Cetaphil. They're all owned by big conglomerates, J&J Beiersdorf. Their products are cheap but ineffective. They don't invest in innovation. They just market the same formulas they've used for 30 years. Differentiation? Our formulas actually work. We have 890 reviews, 4.8 stars. Read them. Michael opened the website, scrolled through reviews, read silently for 5 minutes. Then he said, "Let me test the product." I handed Michael the jar of Pure Gentle Healing Balm. He opened it, smelled it, tested the texture on his fingers. "I have eczema on my hands," he said, "from washing. Constant hand washing. 15 years. He held out his right hand. I saw it. Red patches, dry skin, cracked knuckles. I use Aquaphor, he said. Has for 15 years. It helps temporarily but never heals. He applied a small amount of pure gentle to his right hand, rubbed it in. Non-greasy, absorbs fast, good texture. Wait 30 minutes, I said. That's the test period. Michael set a timer on his phone. While we wait, tell me about your background. MIT Bachelor's in Chemistry, GPA 3.88. Why cosmetics? I wanted to solve a real problem. I saw the gap in the market, eczema products that claimed to work but didn't. I thought I could do better. How long did formulation take? 2 years, testing on myself, reformulating, getting the ratios right. I went through 47 iterations before I got the healing balm right. 47? Yes. That's dedication. That's necessity. If it didn't work, I wouldn't sell it. Michael asked questions for 45 minutes. Rapid fire, professional. What's your TAM? Total addressable market. 31 million Americans with eczema. At an average spend of $135 per year on treatments, that's a $4.2 billion market. SAM? Serviceable addressable market, people who prefer clean beauty, roughly 30% of the TAM, 1.3 billion. Growth projections? Conservative, 890,000 year 2 with Target and Whole Foods distribution. Aggressive, 2.5 million if we scale faster. What do you need? 350,000, seed round. For what? Inventory, hiring, retail samples, 2 new products. What products? Baby wash and night repair serum. Formulas are done, need manufacturing. Why those? Baby wash addresses a new segment, parents with infants who have sensitive skin. Night repair serum captures the anti-aging market while solving eczema, expands our customer base. Michael's timer went off. 30 minutes. He looked at his right hand, examined it, flexed his fingers, touched the skin where the eczema had been red and inflamed. The irritation is gone, he said quietly. The redness is reduced, significantly. It's not magic, I said. It's chemistry. I've used Aquaphor for 15 years, steroid cream when it gets bad. This works better. In 30 minutes. He closed the laptop, looked at Rosemary. You were right. Then he looked at me. Zara, why are you here babysitting your sister's kids instead of closing a funding round? Before I could answer, my phone rang. Philip, calling from Paris. Michael said, answer it, speakerphone. I answered. Dad? Zara. His voice was tight, angry. Why are my parents there? Why didn't you call me? You didn't leave me their phone number. You left me a sticky note. Don't be smart. Put my mother on the phone, now. I looked at Rosemary. She took the phone from me. Philip, she said calmly, we need to talk. About Zara. About what you've done. Book a flight home. All 4 of you, tomorrow. Mom, we're in Paris. We have plans. Cancel them. This is not a request. Be here tomorrow by 10 a.m. Mom, you can't just... 10 a.m. Don't make me say it again. She hung up. Michael packed up his laptop. I need to get to my next call. But before I go, I want to say something. He looked at me. I've evaluated 2,000 beauty pitches in my career. This is in the top 1%. Product market fit most founders never achieve. Metrics that prove you understand your business, and a product that actually works. Thank you. Forerunner backed Glossier, Warby Parker, Chime. We look for founders solving real problems with exceptional execution. You qualify. What does that mean? It means I'm recommending to my fund that we invest. I can't make promises. I need partner approval, but I will personally champion this deal. Rosemary smiled. Thank you, Michael. Don't thank me. Thank your granddaughter. She did the work. He looked at me again. Zara, I'm flying back to San Francisco today, but you'll hear from my team by December 30th. Expect a term sheet. He left, got in his hired car, drove back to JFK. I sat at the dining room table, staring at nothing. Rosemary put her hand on mine. Do you believe me now? I don't know what to believe. Believe this. You built something real. And tomorrow, your father is going to have to face that. 5:30 p.m., December 26th. I was making dinner for the kids. My phone buzzed, a Facebook notification. Mrs. Henderson, the neighbor from 3 doors down, had posted a photo. Tagged location, Greenwich, Connecticut. Photo, Bennett and Rosemary walking down the sidewalk with all 3 kids, bundled in winter coats, smiling. Caption, so lovely seeing the Barrys' grandparents visiting for Christmas. Such devoted grandparents. The post was public. 53 likes, 12 comments. One of the comments, where are Philip and Susan? Another, I heard they went to Europe. Must be nice. I stared at the post. Then I realized this was going to cause problems. 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 11:45 p.m. Paris time. My phone rang. Veronica. Zara, what the hell is going on? What are you talking about? Mrs. Henderson posted a photo. Grandma and Grandpa are there. Why didn't you tell us? I didn't know they were coming. They showed up yesterday. Why would they drive from Florida to Connecticut without telling Dad? I don't know, Veronica. Maybe you should ask them. Don't be a bitch. This is serious. Dad is freaking out. She hung up. 30 seconds later, Philip called. Zara! Philip's voice was frantic, loud. Why are my parents there? They wanted to surprise the family for Christmas. You should have called me immediately. You didn't leave me your phone number. You didn't leave me anything except a sticky note. Don't twist this. You had my number. You could have texted. I was busy taking care of 3 children you abandoned. Silence. Then. We didn't abandon them. We left them with you. Same thing. Zara, I don't have time for your attitude. Put my mother on the phone, now. I walked to the living room, handed the phone to Rosemary. She looked at the caller ID, put it on speaker. Bennett, Michael, and I stood there, listening. Philip, Rosemary said. Her voice was cold, hard. Stop talking. Listen. Mom, what are you doing there? You can't just... I said stop talking. Silence. You left your daughter alone with 3 children so you could drink champagne in Paris. You lied to her. You manipulated her. You stole her vacation time and her business opportunities, and you did it because you think she's a failure. Mom, that's not... She's not a failure. She's extraordinary, and tomorrow I'm going to prove it to you. Book a flight home, all 4 of you. Be here by 10 a.m. We can't just... Yes, you can. You can cancel your plans. You can come home. You can face what you've done. Mom, please. 10 a.m., Philip. Don't make me repeat myself. She hung up, handed me my phone back. He'll come, she said. He's afraid of me. Bennett laughed. As he should be. 9 a.m., December 27th. A car pulled into the driveway. Black sedan, Uber. 4 people got out. Philip, Susan, Veronica, Garrett. They looked terrible. Red-eyed, jet-lagged, angry. Philip had his phone pressed to his ear. Yes, cancel the hotel. We're leaving Paris early. Yes, I understand there's no refund. They'd flown red-eye. Paris Charles de Gaulle to JFK, last-minute business class seats. 4 tickets, $18,900 total. They walked in without knocking, saw me in the kitchen, saw Bennett and Rosemary. Mom, Dad, what is this about? Philip demanded. Sit down, Rosemary said. Living room. The living room. 8 adults, 3 kids upstairs with a movie and snacks. Michael had left his MacBook and projector set up. I'd kept it connected. Rosemary had told me to. Who is that? Susan asked. pointing at the projector. That's not important right now, Rosemary said. What's important is what we're about to show you. Philip looked at me. Zara, what is this? This is a presentation, Rosemary said, about your daughter's business. The one you dismissed, the one you called lotion. Sit down and watch. Veronica sneered. We flew back from Paris for this? For her hobby? Sit down. Rosemary's voice left no room for argument. They sat. I clicked to the first slide. Michael's deck. 15 slides. Professional. Polished. Slide 1. Pure Gentle. Overview. Clean skincare for chronic skin conditions. Founded by Zara Berry, MIT. Chemistry 19, UCLA. Cosmetic Science 2022. Slide 2 to 4. The market. 31 million Americans with eczema. $4.2 billion market. Growing 8% annually. Current solutions ineffective or harmful. Slide 5 to 7. The product pharmaceutical grade formulations. Clinically effective ingredients. Clean. Vegan. Fragrance-free. Customer testimonials with photos. Philip shifted in his seat. Where did you get this deck? Keep watching, Rosemary said. Slide 8 to 10. Traction $180,000 revenue in 8 months. 2,300 customers, 68% repeat purchase rate, 4.8 star rating from 890 reviews. Growing 35% month over month. Veronica's mouth fell open. Wait, what? Slide 11 to 12, the founder. MIT Chemistry, GPA, 3.8, 8 UCLA, Cosmetic Science Certificate. 2 years R&D 47. Formulation iterations. 0 family support. That line hung in the air. Slide 13 to 14. The opportunity target. January 5th meeting, 200 store test. Whole Foods, January 4th meeting, 120 store trial. Need, $350,000 seed round. Conservative projection, $2.5 million year. 2 revenue slide. 15. Investment opportunity, $3 million pre-money valuation. Path to $50 million brand in 3 years. Presented by Michael Brennan, former president of Glossier, venture partner at Forerunner Ventures. The slide stayed on screen. Philip stared at it. Michael Brennan? The Michael Brennan? Yes, Rosemary said. He flew here yesterday, evaluated Zara's business, tested the product. He's recommending Forerunner invest. Philip stood up. This is misleading. She's living in a Brooklyn studio. She has no savings. She can, Rosemary cut him off. She did, without any help from you. Mom, you don't understand business. I understand business better than you ever will. I launched 3 product lines at Estee Lauder. I know what real success looks like. And this, she pointed at the screen, this is real success. But she should have a stable job. She should work at Pfizer or J&J, not waste time on a risky startup. Like you wasted time? Rosemary's voice was sharp. You manage your father's trust fund. You've never built anything in your life. You inherited your position, your wealth, your opportunities, and you have the audacity to tell your daughter, who built a business from nothing, that she's wasting her time? Philip's face went red. That's not fair. Fair? You want to talk about fair? Rosemary stood up. Let me tell you about fair. I worked at Estee Lauder for 23 years, 1975 to 1998. I was vice president of marketing. I launched the Clinique Sensitive Skin line. I smiled at product launches. I gave interviews. I sold beauty to millions of women. She pulled down her collar slightly. I saw a faint scar on her neck. Old, healed, but permanent. And every single day I wore products that made my eczema worse. Because that was the job. Look beautiful. Sell beauty. Even if the products you're selling destroy your skin. Veronica looked away. Susan's hand went to her mouth. I had eczema for 50 years, from age 12 to age 62. My hands, my neck, my face, everywhere. I spent $400 a month on dermatologists. I used steroid cream for 20 years. It thinned my skin permanently. She held out her hands. Translucent skin, visible veins. I wore long sleeves in summer, high collars, scarves, gloves when I could. I covered my neck with foundation every morning and cried every night because it hurt. Because I was selling products to women, telling them they'd be beautiful, while I hid behind makeup. Her voice cracked. I did that for 23 years. I survived it. But I shouldn't have had to. She turned to me. Your daughter, my granddaughter, created the product I dreamed of my entire career. Clean, effective, affordable. A product that actually works without destroying your skin barrier. She picked up the jar of Pure Gentle, held it up. This is what I needed, what Madison needs, what 31 million Americans need. And you called it lotion. You told her to get a real job. You dismissed her. You mocked her. You used her as a free babysitter while you drank champagne in Paris. Tears ran down her face. And you know what the worst part is? You're my son. I raised you. I taught you to value hard work, creativity, innovation, and somehow, you became the kind of man who can't recognize brilliance in his own daughter. Philip opened his mouth, closed it. No words came out. Rosemary wiped her eyes, composed herself. Bennett and I made some decisions, she said. Richard is here. He's been drafting documents since yesterday. Richard? Philip looked confused. Our family attorney? Yes. He's in the study. He'll explain. But first, I want you to hear this from me. She took a breath. I'm personally investing $350,000 in Pure Gentle, as lead investor. The room went silent. Michael Brennan's fund, Forerunner Ventures, is committing $400,000. Veronica made a choking sound. Total seed round, $750,000, more than double what Zara asked for. Susan started crying. Not happy tears, shocked tears. Bennett and I are also restructuring our estate plan, effective immediately. Mom, wait. Philip tried to stand. Sit down, Bennett said. First time he'd spoken. His voice was calm but firm. Let her finish. Rosemary continued. We established an entrepreneurship trust in 1995. $2 million set aside for future generations who want to start businesses. We never activated it because no one in the family ever asked, until now. Zara becomes primary beneficiary of that trust. $2 million reserved for her current venture and future ventures. Philip's face went white. As for you, Philip, you're currently paid $120,000 per year as trustee of our main trust. That's your job. Manage our assets. Make good decisions. Support the family. Mom, You failed. You failed to recognize talent. You failed to support your daughter. You failed to treat her with basic decency. Your trustee fee is reduced to $42,000 per year, a 65% cut. Philip stood up. You can't do that. Yes, we can. It's our trust, our money, our decision. But I need that money. I have expenses. Then get a job. A real job, not one you inherited. Philip sat down, looked like he might throw up. One more thing, Rosemary said. Veronica, you were named successor trustee in our will. That means when Bennett and I pass, you'd take over management of the trust. Veronica looked up, hopeful. That's changed. Zara is now successor trustee. You're removed from the will entirely in that capacity. What? Veronica stood. That's not fair. I'm the oldest. I'm the successful one. Success, Rosemary said quietly, is not a Goldman Sachs salary. Success is solving problems, creating value, building something that helps people. Zara has done that. You haven't. Philip tried to argue. Mom, you're being irrational. This is just irrational? Bennett stood up, walked to the center of the room. Let me tell you what's irrational. You planned a Paris vacation for 4 adults, booked it in November. Then in December, you emailed your daughter, who you haven't spoken to in 3 years, and asked her to come home for Christmas. You didn't tell her about Paris. You didn't ask if she could babysit. You manipulated her. You waited for her confirmation text and then left 20 minutes later. You left her a sticky note, not a phone call. Not an apology, a sticky note. He walked closer to Philip. That's irrational. That's cruel. That's unforgivable. Susan tried to speak. We thought she'd be fine. She doesn't have kids. She had the time. She had 7 vacation days, I said quietly. First time I'd spoken. 7 days. The only days I've had off in 14 months. I had 4 critical business meetings scheduled, a factory deadline, investor calls. I lost all of it because you lied to me. We didn't lie, Susan started. You did. I pulled out my phone, opened the iMessage group chat, the one I'd found on Philip's laptop. I read aloud. Told Zara to come home. She can watch your kids. Maybe she'll realize her business is going nowhere and get serious about her career. Philip closed his eyes. I kept reading. Veronica's reply. Perfect. She needs a reality check anyway. Investment banking greater than selling lotion. Veronica looked at the floor. Susan's reply. She's been alone too long. This will be good for her. Teach her what real family responsibility looks like. Susan started crying harder. You didn't just use me, I said. You mocked me. You planned it. You discussed it like I was a problem you needed to manage. And then you left me here to prove a point that I was failing. We didn't mean, Philip started. Yes, you did. I stood up, walked to the front of the room, looked at my father. I've spent 28 years trying to make you proud, trying to be good enough, trying to fit your definition of success. I graduated MIT with a 3.88 GPA. You didn't come to my graduation. You said you had a work meeting. I got accepted into UCLA's cosmetic science program. You told me it was a waste of time. I launched Pure Gentle 8 months ago. You never asked about it, not once. I've made $180,000 in revenue, built a customer base of 2,300 people, created products that actually help people, and you called it selling lotion. My voice didn't shake. I was calm, cold, like I was reading a court deposition. I don't need you to be proud of me anymore. I don't need your approval. I don't need your money. I don't need your validation. I have a grandmother who sees me, a venture capital firm that believes in me, a business that's real, and customers who need what I've built. You had a chance to be part of that. You chose Paris instead. Silence. Philip looked at me, opened his mouth, closed it, tears in his eyes. But I didn't care anymore. Some things break so completely that apologies can't fix them. Rosemary walked over, put her hand on my shoulder. You've deserved this for a long time. I'm sorry I didn't know sooner. I nodded, couldn't speak. If I spoke, I'd cry, and I didn't want to cry in front of them. Richard, the family attorney, came out of the study, holding a folder. Documents are ready, he said. Bennett, Rosemary, I need your signatures. Philip, you'll receive a copy of the amended trust agreement by end of day. Bennett and Rosemary signed. Richard witnessed. It's official, Richard said. The changes take effect immediately. Philip stood, walked to the door, stopped, turned around. Zara, Don't, I said. Just don't. He left. Susan followed, Veronica and Garrett behind them. The door closed. Bennett sighed. Well, that went better than I expected. Better? I asked. No one threw anything. I laughed. For the first time in days, I laughed. December 28th to 30. Awkward doesn't begin to describe it. Philip, Susan, Veronica, and Garrett stayed in the house, their original plan. But now everything was different. They avoided me, avoided Bennett and Rosemary, ate meals separately, stayed in their rooms. December 29th, Susan approached me in the kitchen. Zara, we didn't know. About your business. We thought. You didn't ask, I said. You assumed. I know, I'm sorry. Okay. That was it. I didn't have more to say. December 30th, 10 a.m. I packed my car. Bennett and Rosemary stood in the driveway. You're staying in touch, Rosemary said. Not a question. A command. Yes. Weekly phone calls. I want updates on the business. I'm an advisor now, whether you like it or not. I like it. She hugged me. Held on for 2 full minutes. I'm proud of you. I wish I'd known you sooner. You know me now. Bennett handed me an envelope. Don't open it until you're home. What is it? You'll see. I drove back to Brooklyn. 2.5 hours, arrived at 1 p.m., opened the envelope. Inside, a check. From Bennett Barry, memo line, for the daughter who built something real. Amount, $25,000, and a note. This isn't an investment. This is a gift. Use it however you want. Buy yourself a nice dinner, take a vacation, or put it toward rent. You've earned it. Grandpa Ben. I sat on my bed and cried. January 2nd, chemist meeting. I made it. Formulas finalized for baby wash and night repair serum. January 3rd. Manufacturer meeting. Production locked in. First run scheduled for mid-February. January 4th. Whole Foods call. Pitch deck delivered. Buyer response. We love it. Let's do a trial. 120 stores. 3-month test. January 5th. Target call. Buyer response. This is exactly what we've been looking for. 200 stores. Initial purchase order, $200,000. I called Rosemary after the Target call. She cried. I knew it. I knew you'd get it. January 18th. Wire transfer notification. Bank alert. Incoming wire, $350,000 from Rosemary Berry Trust. Second alert. Incoming wire, $400,000 from Forerunner Ventures Fund 3. Total, $750,000. I stared at my phone, refreshed my banking app. The numbers didn't change. It was real. I hired 2 people. A chemist, $85,000 annual salary. An operations manager, $72,000. I moved to a new apartment. 2-bedroom in Williamsburg, $3,400 a month. 1 room for me, 1 room for an office. For the first time in my life, I didn't worry about rent. Didn't worry about inventory. Didn't worry about whether I could afford to eat. I had runway. I had a team. I had a chance. 3 weeks after Christmas, I got a text from Veronica. Madison's eczema is 90% cleared. I don't know what you put in that cream, but it works. Thank you. I didn't respond immediately. Thought about it for a day. Then, I'm glad I could help her. No more conversation. But a week later, another text. Can I order 6 jars? I'll pay full price. Yes, I'll send you a link. She ordered $192, 6 jars, for Madison and for her to test herself. It wasn't forgiveness, but it was something. January 15th. Text from Philip. Zara, I'm proud of what you've built. I hope we can talk soon. I didn't respond. January 28th. Another text. I was wrong. I see that now. I'd like to make things right. I didn't respond. February 1st. Email from Philip. Subject. I'm sorry. Email text. Zara, I'm proud of what you've built. I hope we can talk soon. I was wrong about you, about your business, about everything. Can we have dinner? My treat. Dad. I read it 3 times, then deleted it. I didn't need his apology. I didn't need his pride. I didn't need anything from him anymore. Maybe someday I'd be ready to talk. Maybe not. But that was my choice now, not his. February 15th. Rosemary visited Brooklyn, came to see my new office, a co-working space, $850 a month. She saw the nameplate on my desk. Pure Gentle HQ, Zara Berry, founder and CEO. She cried. You did it. Officially. I'm still building. That's what founders do. She handed me a package. Open it later, when I'm gone. I opened it that night. Inside, a photograph, black and white, 1985. A younger Rosemary standing in an office. Estee Lauder logo visible in the background. She was smiling, professional. But if you looked closely, you could see her hands. Red. Inflamed. Eczema clearly visible. A note was paper clipped to the photo. Handwritten. This photo was taken the week I launched a product line that made my eczema worse. I smiled through the pain for 23 years. You gave me the closure I never had. Thank you for existing. Grandma Rose. I framed it, hung it on the wall above my desk. Every day I look at it and remember. I didn't build Pure Gentle for money. I built it for people like her, like Madison, like the 31 million Americans who've been told nothing works. I built it because they deserved better. June 2025. 6 months after that Christmas. Pure, Gentle revenue. $890,000 from $180,000 in December. Customers. 8,900 from 2,300. Reviews. 3,400. Rating. 4.9 stars. Target. Expanded from 200 stores to 340 stores. National distribution pending. Whole Foods. Trial successful. Permanent placement approved. Now in 215 stores. Series A, early conversations. $3 million pre-money valuation. Multiple VCs interested. June 18th, Beauty Innovation Summit, San Francisco. 500 attendees. I was invited to speak. Panel discussion. Emerging founders disrupting beauty. I stood on stage, looked out at the audience. Front row, Rosemary, smiling, crying, proud. I didn't build Pure Gentle because I wanted to be an entrepreneur, I said. I built it because my grandmother suffered for 50 years with products that didn't work. Because Madison, my 7-year-old niece, scratched until she bled. Because 31 million Americans deserve better than steroid creams and ineffective lotions. The audience was silent, listening. I spent 2 years formulating, 47 iterations to get the healing balm right. I tested everything on myself. I funded it with consulting income. I worked 80-hour weeks while living in a studio apartment. I did it without family support, without investors, without anyone believing it would work. But it did work, because the problem was real, because people needed a solution, because I refused to give up. Standing ovation. Rosemary stood first, then the rest of the audience. Afterward, dozens of founders approached me, asked questions, wanted advice. One woman, maybe 35, grabbed my hand. I have eczema. I've used your products. They changed my life. Thank you. I didn't know what to say, so I just said, "You're welcome." June 20th. Forbes published their 30 under 30 list, healthcare category. I was on the cover. Headline, "The MIT grad solving eczema one jar at a time." My phone exploded. Texts, emails, calls. One text from Philip. Saw the Forbes piece. You're on the cover. I was wrong about everything. I'm sorry. Can we talk? Dad. I stared at the text for 5 minutes, then typed, "Thank you. But actions matter more than words. Maybe someday. Maybe someday. But not today." Weekly Sunday phone calls with Rosemary. She asks about revenue, customer acquisition, product development, retail expansion. She's the advisor I always needed. Monthly visits to Greenwich, to see Bennett and Rosemary, not to see Philip. Veronica and I are civil. She orders Pure Gentle products every month. Over $500 in purchases since January. For Madison, for herself. She doesn't apologize. But she buys the products. That's something. Philip tries to reach out. Once a month, text messages, emails, all variations of, "I'm sorry, I was wrong, can we talk?" I don't respond. Not because I hate him, but because I'm busy. Building, growing, creating something bigger than family drama. Rosemary told me once, forgiveness is a gift, not an obligation. You don't owe it to anyone, not even your father. She's right. I think about that Christmas sometimes. December 23rd. Walking into an empty house, finding a sticky note, realizing I'd been manipulated. I think about how they invited me home because they thought I was failing. They thought I needed a lesson in real success. They thought babysitting would remind me what I was missing. They were wrong. I wasn't missing anything. I was building something they couldn't understand. Something real. Something that helped people. And the only person who saw that, who recognized what I'd created, was the person who'd been invisible in her own career, who'd suffered in silence, who knew what it meant to be dismissed. Rosemary taught me something that Christmas. Real success isn't a title. It isn't a salary. It isn't a Park Avenue condo or a Goldman Sachs business card. Real success is solving problems no one else could solve. It's helping people who've been ignored. It's building something that matters. July 2025. I'm sitting in my office. The photo of Rosemary from 1985 hangs on the wall. Her red, inflamed hands visible. Her smile fake. Her pain real. My laptop is open. A term sheet from a Series A investor. $3 million pre-money valuation. My phone rings. Target buyer. Zara, we want to expand to 500 stores. Can you handle the volume? Yes, I say. We can. I hang up. Look at the photo again. This is for you, Grandma Rose, I whisper. And for everyone they said wasn't good enough. They invited me home that Christmas to teach me a lesson, to show me what real success looked like, to prove I was failing. But they didn't know what I'd actually built. Because they never asked. They never cared. They never looked past their own narrow definition of success. And the person who discovered what I'd built? She didn't just invest money. She invested belief. She saw me when no one else did. She validated 50 years of her own suffering by supporting mine. I don't need my father to believe in me. I don't need my sister's approval. I don't need their version of success. I have my own, and it's real.